everyone. Welcome back to the Pipeline Podcast. Today, we're talking about one of the biggest challenges that I see holiday lighting companies make year after year. It is waiting until October or November to start running your ads. Those companies in your town, they are already running ads fully booked out by August. So, why would you wait? They are not just lucky, they are strategic. So we're going to be talking about why starting early gives you that advantage. So let's talk about, why starting early matters so much. Why does Google and Facebook take time to warm up? We're breaking down really how local businesses can start building early momentum and a few things that you can do and take away from this podcast at the end.
Thank you, Maura. So let's start asking why starting early matters, right? And like you said, if you haven't started, then you're already behind if you're watching us. So basically, I know for a fact that Google and Facebook need time to learn. Advertising platforms generally don't instantly produce the best results, right? So that's why it's important to start early. We know Google ads, for example, take like 30 to 45 days to progress and move on from the learning phase. So that's why it's important to start early, right? Facebook
Yes.
ads also go through a learning phase. So that's important.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one thing that we've seen every year is that holiday lighting is like one of the most competitive seasonal services. Like once everyone starts searching in October or November, like every company is trying to reach the same customers, and that means that higher competition. That means higher ad costs, and it's much harder to for the business owners to stand out, and that's why we always like recommend early. And as Anna mentioned, like these platforms like Google ads and Facebook ads, they don't become highly effective overnight. Like I feel like a lot of people think that once you turn on the ads, like leads starts coming in right away, and you can just book them and go through that leads. But in reality, that's not how it works. And like you've mentioned, it goes through it's go through a phase, like it's called learning phase. So but if you start your campaign early, like you're giving the campaign and also the team time to collect data, to optimize your campaigns before demands really takes off.
Yeah, like think of ads and the algorithm as a hiring like a brand new person on the team, like hiring a brand new salesperson. Like one day, you hire a salesperson and they need that training, they need that learning period. They have to make a few mistakes, they have to test things out, they have to learn what actually works, what doesn't work. So turning your ads on in August is just like training a brand new salesperson up. They iron out the kinks, they learn everything that they need to learn, and then they make sure everything is worked out before those leads floodgates open. And in August, things are just much cheaper. Your competition isn't running, or multiple companies aren't running ads in August for holidays or holiday lighting. So just simply like supply and demand that drives up the cost in November and October. You can get all of those early leads coming in, and it won't be, your cost per click won't be that high. So you're getting like the cheaper views while everyone else is waiting until starting later in the season.
Yes, so
Exactly.
true.
So also an important point here, Maura, is that, for example, commercials, homeowners, like the big jobs are booked first.
Mhm.
So if you get your ads out there first, you'll probably have those big jobs, right? So
Yep.
I feel like besides Google and Facebook going through the learning phases and also cost, like the benefits you'll have like of getting the bigger customers, that's a plus, like starting early is so important. I've had business owners start early, like for example, last season, and they had great results. So starting early is taking advantage of trending markets, and Google and Facebook and cheaper. So
Yeah. Those property managers aren't waiting until November to set up their holiday lighting. They're looking July, August. They are setting up their holiday budget and hiring contractors in the late summer because, I know of a business owner who locked in a $15,000 contract before his competition even took out their ladders out of storage, for the season. So that's why it's so important to really run those ads early, because those higher end ticket pricing, the HOAs and the bigger houses aren't waiting until the last minute. They're planning and they're planning their budgets and they're reaching out to, companies to get them hired.
Yeah, exactly. So if they wait until October or November, like to advertise, possibly many of those bigger jobs may already be taken, and starting early gives them a better chance of, like, being one of the first companies that they find if they
Yep.
start early.
For
So yeah, and so sorry, I just want to also go back, like, with the cost that we were talking about before, because, like, that's very that really makes sense, because I like using this analogy, like, when you think of, like, booking a flight, and if you buy your ticket early, it's often cheaper. So, but if you wait until the holiday rush, the prices go up, and, like, everyone just wants the same seat. So advertising kind of works similarly. So in August, like, your budget can just usually go further, and you may be able to, get more clicks, get more leads, and you get the same amount of leads by spending less money than you get later in the season. So it's not that, you cannot advertise later, but you absolutely can. But, like, if you have the opportunity to start early, then you're usually putting yourself in better position. So you really need to, take advantage of that. So maybe, we could also, like, discuss, like, how to prepare. What are the things that we need to prepare before the season starts, right?
Yeah, great point. Because marketing only works if your business is actually ready to handle the work.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
things that you need to do before you spend a dime on advertising is, iron out your supply chain and crew. There's nothing worse than running great ads, getting, 20 people who want lights, and then realizing you're out of all of these things. Your main installer just quit. So call your supplier now, stock up, and make sure your team is locked in. And then, photos and videos are definitely an asset as well.
yeah, having
Yes, like one. Sorry,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Don. Great. So talking about photos, like I've had many business owners come on board for this is like their third season, and I've seen them improve. For example, I remember first season they were like, "Oh, I have no pictures," or like really low quality images because they weren't taking the time to like take really good pictures. Then they came on board a second season, which was last year, and they had like great images, right? And actually, like their advertising was so good that they had to like shut down their ads like before the season ended. So I feel like having great marketing assets is important. Taking pictures, documenting every job you do, right? Doing videos as well, and just like not taking photos, like bad photos with your cell phone. You can use your cell phone because all cell phones have good cameras now, but like take the time to like really take good pictures, because that also sells, like I said, like this business owner was like, hey, I need to shut down the ads because like I'm fully booked, like I have no more space. So it's important, like to have like really good pictures, and I can see the progress, and I'm happy like to see him on board for the third season, and like him having like really really nice edited videos and pictures.
Yes, and like imagine like a homeowner is comparing two companies, right? So like one company has a logo and like a few generic photos or maybe stock pictures, and then the other company has beautiful photos of homes they've decorated within the same neighborhood. Plus, they do have like videos, showing the lights at night. So which. Thinking about it, which one would you trust more, right? So, of course, most people will choose the second one because they can actually see the quality of your work, and you can imagine yourself like, that's going to be my house, if I hired them. So
Yeah.
photos are really important.
Yeah, Dawn, you are so right. There is, people just buy with their eyes, especially when it comes to holiday lighting. It's so important to have such great photos and reviews, especially, reaching out to your past customers, making it, a two-way conversation of how we did last year. If you haven't gotten a review yet, asking for a review, maybe even coming up with different incentives for your past clients to get them on board for this year as well.
That's very true, Maura. I think that's a great point. And another thing is that re-engaging previous customers. Like I think your easiest sale is usually someone who already hired you. So like they already trusted your company and they've seen your work. And if they had a good experience, they're much more likely to hire you again than someone who they never heard of. And that's why it's always a good idea to like reach out to your past customers before the season start, instead of like waiting for them to contact you. And it doesn't really like to be like a long touching message, just a quick text or email like, hey, we're now booking for the holiday lighting installation for this season, and since you're a past customer, we wanted to give you first access. Or maybe you could also like add the offer or a discount for them, since they are a returning customer of yours. So as simple as that message can really go a long way.
Yeah, for sure. I think that is a perfect example of, something, a quick action plan that you can send out to your clients that you had last year. Not waiting until they remember you exist, but sending them a quick text or email. Just, saying something as simple as Dawn said, as a thank you for being a returning customer, book your spot before September 15th and we'll take 10% off your service. And remember, just it's so important that these are, customers searching on Google. They always look at reviews. They're more likely to go with the 40-star reviews over the guy with 3 reviews. So it's so important to collect reviews for your business, and then, photos as well. So that is the biggest takeaway for the actions that you can take today is get reviews, start generating them, reach out to past customers. If they haven't left you a review yet, get those reviews, message them. Don't wait for them to remember that you exist. Just a little message and incentive for them, so they are more likely to book this year. And then for the last one, the big takeaway is just, getting those ads early, getting that marketing early, and making sure that, you start before your competition does. And that's the most important takeaway from this.
Yeah, and just like a small recap of everything we've seen today. So basically, first up, like why start early? Google and Facebook need time to learn. Remember that. Advertising is usually cheaper in August and early September. The biggest jobs are booked first, so it's important to get ahead in season. Prepare yourself with good images, photos, videos, everything you have, and re-engage with previous customers with a good CTA, right? So that's basically what we have for today. I don't know if any of you would like to share anything else.
No, I think you've already covered everything and you did a really great recap. So, but just remember for our business owners out there that every happy customer is an opportunity. So, get those reviews, start early, and, take notes of everything that we've discussed in this podcast.
Yep. Start early, stay consistent, keep following up. And remember, marketing doesn't begin when the season starts, it begins months before your first installation.